In this edition of History Illustrated, I'm going to talk to you about this word persecute. Now, this word persecute is always fun for me because in class I inevitably every time have some student yell out, "Oh, I know what persecute means. It means to kill." And I have to giggle just a little bit and say, "I'm sorry, no, you have it confused with this word here, execute." Execute means to kill. But at times, this word persecute does include an execution. Let me explain a little bit about it. Now, I want you to remember, first and foremost, to focus on this little section here, the cute part. And I want you to remember there is nothing cute about a persecution. In fact, persecution is an unfair judgment. Now, that might not sound like much, but throughout history, these unfair judgments have done some pretty horrible things. So let's take a look at a few examples here. Throughout history, people have been persecuted based on their race or their skin color. They've also been persecuted based on their religion, what they believed, and they've also been persecuted for their gender, being male or female. Now, let's look at a few examples of these just to make sure you understand. For example, skin color. You might remember there was a time in our country's history where slavery was an issue, and it was based on race. If you were a particular race, you might be enslaved. And then even further back in history, if you look at these sections here, the religious ones, you might recall close to 1,000 years ago, the Christians were involved with something called the Crusades, where they were trying to take back the Holy Land from the Muslims. And then we have the Muslims who are even currently participating in something we call jihad, which is very similar to what the crusade is. And if you look even more recently in history, you have the Jews that they faced the Holocaust. They were being killed simply because of their religion. This is a very horrible thing that happened based on persecution. And then of course, roughly the same time period, and even today, we have women who are facing persecution based on like voting, for example. It was recent in American history that women were even allowed to vote, and it was even more recent that women were dealing with rights associated with working and their salaries. So I want you to remember that persecute, there's nothing cute about it. It's an unfair judgment that oftentimes carries an unfair treatment.